Hi guys, glory be to God. Welcome to the Kingdom Woman Channel. We're living for God is made practical. I'm Mariah. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, today I want to come to the spaces with you guys and talk to those of you who are chosen. Those of you who are chosen. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of this information is widely available, but God put it on my heart to deliver this message, and so that is what I'm gonna do. And I have tried to record this on several different occasions, and it just didn't work out. But so today I'm outside chilling in my backyard, enjoying this nice fall weather, and I wanted to come to spaces with you about being chosen and dealing with your family, because if you know what I'm saying, as much as we want to um, live out the perfect family portrait, you know what I'm saying, if you are called to be the generational curse breaker, then a lot of times um, you won't get that picture perfect family dynamic that you hope for or long for. Um, you know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those things. It's one of those things that the Bible tells us about. But, for some of us, it takes, a long time to realize it. And then once, even though we see like all the red flags and everything, it's hard to, uh, if you have a good heart and you truly are chosen, it's hard for you to want to accept the worst in people you love. You know what I'm saying? It's not the best feeling, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you are the type of person that can see the best in people at the same time, like, but you know what I'm saying? You have to understand what the Bible tells us about these things, because if you're the generational curse breaker, then you have a role to fulfill, you have an assignment to fulfill, and you have to protect that. You know what I'm saying? And you also have to keep in mind and understand that you, as the generational curse breaker, my watermelon, you as a generational curse breaker, you are called to be the generational curse breaker for a reason. And you know what I'm saying? The reason typically is that everybody that came before you had the opportunity, but they told God no. You know what I'm saying? And so now the responsibility is falling on you. And you know what I'm saying? It's a good idea for you to fulfill the role and step out, because if you don't, then it's gonna fall to your kids. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's not a good feeling. You know what I'm saying? For your kids to grow up and look at you like you knew all of this, and you had a opportunity to change it and make life better for yourself and everybody else that came after you, and you just didn't do it. Like, you don't want to go out like that. You already know what that's like. So you know what I'm saying? You don't want to go out like that. But yeah, so you know what I'm saying? God, each and every one of us, we have a destiny, you know what I'm saying? And we have roles to fulfill in the earth realm, you know what I'm saying? And God sends us here with the intention for us to do that. And we can either choose to do it, we could choose to serve God, or we could choose something else, because with our soul, you know what I'm saying, we have that decision maker power to go ahead and do whatever we want, you know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, some of our family members, they like the parable of the sower, they can, they fall away, or it becomes the walking with God becomes too much, or they just give up, or they get caught up in wealth and riches, or you know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of stuff that could go wrong in a person's life, for them not to be the one who actually becomes good ground and then begins to bear fruit. You know what I'm saying? Bear good fruit, bear kingdom fruit. You know what I'm saying? So And so, you know what I'm saying? The biblical examples I wanted to reference was the story of Cain and Abel, how Cain killed Abel. You know what I'm saying? Cain just got jealous of Abel and he killed him. Period. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? It be your own family. And Joseph, same thing. Joseph brothers tried to kill him to stop him from fulfilling the assignment God placed on his life, from stepping into his calling. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of the things you got to look at for. Because if you the generational curse breaker, you know what I'm saying? God said in Luke 12:51 through 53 that he came to create division in families because he intended to separate believers from non-believers. You know what I'm saying? And so if you the generational curse breaker and the people who came before you made a decision to not fulfill the will of God, to lose their faith and go run off and do this or go run off and do that, and you pick up the assignment, you take on the mantle, you accept the role to be the generational curse breaker, then that's a division created in one household between believers and non-believers. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have to live that out, it can look like rejection, it can look like abandonment, it can look like abuse, it can look like um, sabotage. You know what I'm saying? It can look like people putting you down. Anything these folks can do to stop you from becoming the person God created you to be, they will do it. And that's why I wanted to reference the story of Cain and Abel and Joseph, because those are the biblical examples where we see just that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Cain got so jealous of Abel that he just killed him. You know what I'm saying? And Joseph, you know, further down the line, where civilization was more established, you know what I'm saying? There was a role for Joseph to fulfill, but his brothers were so jealous that they tried to sabotage it. Now, even in that story, they talk about the goat blood, and for some of us, you know what I'm saying? Some of our family members is gonna go so far to use rituals, whether they pay somebody else, whether they do a combination of paying somebody else and doing rituals, you know, behind closed doors. That's what they do. That's what they will do, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard to accept that the people you loved your whole entire life, that they really never loved you the way you loved them. And not only that, that they would go so far as to try to ruin your opportunities in life, do witchcraft on you, do get people to sacrifice animals, like crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it's in the Bible, and you have to understand that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness. So, you know what I'm saying? While we could blame our families and be mad at our families and stuff like that, there's spiritual wickedness operating within our family members that causes them to do that. And I'm not making an excuse for it, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to raise awareness so that we can understand what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? When our family members made the decision to not follow Jesus, to lose their faith, to turn their back on the Lord and go into this, go into that, they opened themselves up to be used by spiritual wickedness. Because if you are not an active servant, obedient servant, submitted to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, you are submitted to wickedness, unrighteousness. You know what I'm saying? There's only two teams and you pick one. If you don't choose God, by default you've chosen the other team. So, you know what I'm saying? And then if they don't reconcile with the reasons why they lose their faith and turn away from God, and they don't accept accountability for stuff, they just open themselves up to be used by different spirits. Different spirits can, and then that makes them envious and jealous of you when you go forward to do everything that they could have did, but they failed to do. They gave up on themselves or whatever. They don't like that, and the spirits within them don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if this is a generational thing, then the spirit wanted to inhabit you next. You know what I'm saying? But you have become the generational curse breaker. So, you know what I'm saying? The spirit is not happy about that. And then, the person, they themselves, if they fail to accept responsibility for their ways, and they are not interested in going within, they are not interested in taking accountability for the decisions they made for themselves, then, you know what I'm saying, they can be jealous of you when you go do that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's almost like, who do you think you are? You know what I'm saying? You think you better than us, and all this other stuff that you just, you know what I'm saying, don't even entertain. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, it be your own family. It be your own family. And if, you know what I'm saying, if you had to take on the task to be the generational curse breaker, meaning that your predecessors, your grandparents and grandparents were not interested in living a life of righteousness, this is a fight that you're going to have to fight. This is what you're going to have to deal with, period. And you know what I'm saying? If you have come to the knowledge and awareness to be able to accept and retain this information, then you know what I'm saying? You already halfway there to be able to take this burden off of your kids. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and by being chosen to do it, you just got to do it. You know what I'm saying? But you're not the only one. You're not the only one. It's just one of them things. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we like to paint these perfect pictures of our parents or what our parents should be or what our parents could be. But, you know, we have to accept the spiritual realities behind everything that's taking place. You know what I'm saying? And that's a spiritual reality. There will be division, and it's just one of the things we gotta live with. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, Joseph, his story turned out for the better. You know what I'm saying? And whatever you have to experience, whatever you have to go through, God to turn it around for you. Some kind of way, some unique kind of way in your life, God will turn everything around for you. But, don't be surprised and don't be naive, because the longer you stay naive about, whether or not your family is in witchcraft, or whether or not your mom is doing witchcraft, or whether or not somebody that was supposed to be your family is doing witchcraft, like, the longer you remain susceptible to whatever they're trying to do in your life. Not that it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? The thing about people trying to do witchcraft on you is, it's plain and simple. If you a child of God, everybody that's doing witchcraft to you is doing witchcraft to themselves. They really not even, you know what I'm saying? Like, you may feel this or you may feel that, but once you go to God concerning what he reveals to you about people, the same witchcraft they sent to you has nowhere else to go but back into their life. And you don't have to send it back to them or anything like that. It's automatically the spirits, and whatever they put out, whatever seed they sow into your life, it's automatically going back to them as a harvest. And the difference between you and them is God is protecting you. You know what I'm saying? when that witchcraft goes back to them, they have no protection. Everything they sent to you, they're gonna feel the full effect of it multiplied as a harvest into their life. You know what I'm saying? So this is, another reason why we don't have to be mad at our family members, or another reason why we don't have to retaliate and get them back. They're ruining their own lives by coming up against us, and you just over here minding your business. You know what I'm saying? You just doing your thing, trying to be the generational curse breaker and fighting through whatever they're gonna do. But and it's sad because it don't matter how many videos you put out about it, they are determined. So you know what I'm saying? You could put another video out and be like, I told you last week and I'm going to tell you again, it's not going to work. And they just don't get it. But, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to stoop to their level. You know what I'm saying? And, these aren't happy whole people doing these things. You know what I'm saying? So why add to what they already going through? You know what I'm saying? Let them, and then there may be cause for separation. Let them do and be what they have decided to do and be within their hearts. And if you want to choose to be the generational curse breaker, just step up and do that. You know what I'm saying? Create the life for you and your family and your children that you always wanted to live through and live out. And be at peace and be happy with that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, it's a thing in families where, because people say that we family, that they believe that it's okay for you to treat me any old kind of way because we family and you just gotta accept it. No, you don't have to let your family members treat you any old kind of way. If you have self-respect, respect yourself concerning your family. They don't get to, as an adult, when you're a child, you really don't have no say so. But as an adult, as a self-respecting adult, you don't have to put up with anybody's unhealed emotional baggage. So don't, don't be your family's footstool. And don't feel like what goes on in this house stays in this house. You know what I'm saying? Like, use your discernment on that one. But if you are a horrible person behind closed doors, what would make you think I need to protect your reputation in any way? You already ruining it. You have already ruined your reputation. You don't even have a reputation. You just lying to everybody. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, there are a lot of things that people believe to be true concerning family dynamics and family structures. But at the end of the day, protect yourself and protect what you birth into the world. All right, so yeah, I hope that helps. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I might make another video just for you. Until next time, bye guys.